Absolutely. I mean, I got to get this out the way first. I think Mr. Robot is like the greatest television show of all time. So I've always been a big fan of yours. That's when I first came across. I'm like, this show is amazing.
Oh, thank you, man. I put my heart and soul into that show with Sam, and yeah, I think we had changed the game a little bit of
Yeah,
television. Kind of proud of that, but
yeah, absolutely.
it's difficult with all these great roles that I've been blessed with. People say, "What's your favorite?" I can't put it down, but Elliot is always tough to beat, even with Freddie.
That's amazing. A Bond villain. I mean, that's a big deal. Like, is that something that you really wanted to be like? Hey, I want to be the villain, in this movie. And I found it interesting. Is older Bond villains always had kind of a facial or some sort of hook on their hand and stuff. But some of the later Bond villains did not. But you're kind of back to that with the facial scar and everything. Like, how did that all kind of come about, and how did you kind of take on, that role?
That was actually Carrey's idea. He wanted the character to have been poisoned, and he had a very specific poison in mind. It's a dioxin poison, so we were careful to research how that would affect the face. Uh, yeah, it is something that in the future would be interesting to move away from, but in this particular case, it works for the storyline, for the plot, so it made a lot of sense.
In the movie, kind of has to tie up a lot of things from previous movies. But I notice your performance is like once you kind of come into it, it's like you're drawn into what you're doing, as a villain. The chemistry that you had, with Daniel and the other cast members. Can you just talk a little bit about that? Because I mean, it's really kind of intense.
Yeah, honestly, for me in the Bond movies, there can be a bit of the characters can be very charismatic and almost mustache twirling, I feel,
Mhm.
but I didn't want to think about all those previous iterations. It was so important for me to make this real, to make it feel like it was a really philosophical match of wit between Daniel's character as Bond and my character as Safin. And in order to do that, it was just time to get very intense, to the point, um, and look at it from the perspective of here are two people having a conversation about the future of the world, and you can have jokes in those moments, but you should also lean into what the future might look like, because it could be quite devastating. And I think that was something I really wanted to hone in with Daniel, with Carrie, and with all the other actors as well.
And that kind of leads to my last question. When you kind of read the part and the character, do you then go back and kind of say how, as an actor, can make this my own? So it comes across as the best version of you as an actor with the director and the screenwriters and things like that.
Yeah. I want to make it unique, want to make it personal. That's what was hard to do with this character. There's, of course, some trauma that comes with that poisoning, so you can lean into that. Usually I try to draw from some emotion and empathy in me. I found it difficult to empathize with this character sometimes, uh, because of the horrific, brutal things that he's trying to accomplish. So for me, that was more of a stretch. That was the difficult thing in the transformation, is to go to some really dark places and think about a future where Safin was um, really taking over the world. What that might look like was petrifying.
Well, I really appreciate you taking out the time. You're wonderful in the movie. I can't wait to see more projects that you're in. You have a wonderful weekend. Okay.
You too, man. Thank you for all the kind words. I really appreciate it. Thank
No
you.
problem.